Welcome back. I'm Lucas Trombley.
I'm Charlotte Ferguson,
and this is Channel 8 News. Just Mercy is a heartbreaking true story by Bryan Stevenson about the injustice of the criminal justice system. In his novel, Stevenson includes awful stories about the horrors of false imprisonment and punishment, including solitary confinement. Incarceration is supposed to reform inmates, but the novel suggests that punishments like solitary confinement are more harmful than helpful. This begs the question, what is the truth behind solitary confinement?
Dark, cramped, alone, deprived of any sort of human contact, 22 to 24 hours a day for months, even years on end. It might sound like an awful nightmare, but it is actually the cruel reality of thousands of prison inmates across America.
Now to Charlotte for more. 1.
I'm here at the Appalachia Correctional Institution in Florida, a prison mentioned in Bryan Stevenson's Just Mercy, where solitary confinement conditions are nothing short of horrendous. Prisoners' quarters are concrete boxes, no bigger than a walk-in closet. Meals are distributed through slots. If prisoners scream, complain, or hurt themselves in any way, their time in solitary is extended. They're allowed 3 showers a week, and for 45 minutes each week, they're allowed to go outside in the caged area and exercise. Thank you, Charlotte.
Ian Manuel, who was a prisoner at the Appalachia Institution, was put into solitary confinement at the age of 14 due to his young age and the fear of what would happen with other prisoners. He was later self-described as a cutter, as he would use anything sharp on his food tray to try to hurt himself. He attempted suicide many times.
This reveals to us how solitary confinement can cause mental health to unravel and prisoners can hurt themselves or even attempt to take their lives. Now to Lucas for an interview with Dr. Ferguson.
I am here with professional psychologist Dr. Charlotte Ferguson to talk about the effects on the mental health of prisoners who have been in solitary confinement. Dr. Ferguson, how does solitary confinement affect prisoners?
Inmates who have been put into solitary confinement experience irreversible effects on their mental health. Solitary can lead to future problems with self-harm, suicide, and drug overdoses. For example, in the state of New York, inmates who were in solitary were 5 times more likely to commit suicide than those in natural prison.
So when a human is placed into solitary confinement, instead of reforming them, it causes them to harm themselves and feel the need to take their own lives. Dr. Ferguson, you gave us a statistic from New York. Now what about...
Throughout the country, individuals who have experienced solitary confinement are 24% more likely to die within the first year of their release, 78% more likely to commit suicide, 54% more likely to die from homicide, and 127% more likely to die from an opioid overdose. Furthermore, people who experience solitary confinement have numerous symptoms of mental illness, such as anxiety, depression, hypersensitivity, cognitive disturbances, loss of identity, and psychosis. The mental health effects on these inmates are irreversible and cause harm to the inmates, not reformation.
Thank you for your time, Dr. Ferguson. The mental health of these inmates are being damaged for every moment they spend in solitary confinement. In a system that's meant for reformation, the inmates should not be coming out worse than they went in. This idea completely goes against the justice system.
We know the psychological damage of solitary confinement, but what about the tolls it takes on the human body itself? Dr. Lucas Trombley, professional physician, is here to provide some insight on how detrimental solitary confinement is.
I've examined many patients who experience solitary confinement, and the symptoms they've shown from being subjected to this type of punishment are truly concerning. Solitary can alter brain structure, resulting in fewer and smaller neurons, the nerve cells in the brain. Solitary confinement also poses many threats to a person's cardiovascular health, such as hypertension and heart attacks. Other symptoms include chronic headaches, trembling, extreme dizziness, heart palpitations, insomnia, and strokes.
Dr. Trombley, you mentioned that you work with patients in solitary confinement. When you visited them, how did they react and behave?
I'm glad you asked. Most of the patients I visited have been devoid of any sort of human interaction for so long that they broke down in sobs as soon as they saw me. Yet, even though they were overjoyed to seeing and talking to another person, they remained very distant and reserved, like they weren't fully present in the moment. Most flinched and trembled under my touch when I was checking their vitals. One man was particularly sensitive to any sort of noise. He would wince and shudder at even the slightest sound because he was so used to silence. It was truly heartbreaking to see.
I appreciate your time, Dr. Trombley. The physical effects of solitary confinement are permanently damaging to the inmate and will affect their health for the rest of their life. How many people are subjected to this cruel punishment? Now to Lucas for more.
Here we're looking at a graph of people in solitary confinement by a year. We start in 1995, where there were 57,591. After that, we would see an increase of about 23,000, as we head to 2000, where it's 80,870. We'd see about a 1,000 increase, where it would hit 81,622 in 2005, before moving in the right direction and taking a hard drop of almost 20,000 to get to 61,000 in 2010. It jumped back up by 7,000 in 2015 to get to 68,000. And finally, we would have a big jump to end off of 27,000 to get to 41,000 in 2020.
Thank you, Lucas. So there you have it, folks. The horrors of solitary confinement. Until next time, this has been Charlotte Ferguson
And Lucas Stromley, and we'll see you next time on
Channel 8
News.